This episode of Super Boothers is brought to you by Photo Booth Startup, giving you the ultimate photo booth at an affordable price. Specializing in ring light booths, whether you're just starting out or adding some to your fleet, Photo Booth Startup can help. Visit their website at photoboothstartup.com. Hello and welcome to Super Boothers. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ismail.
So, do you remember how I said I was like super flippin' busy and it was nonstop?
No. Just kidding.
I am like tired and haggard and in desperate need of concealer. And you are telling me.
Telling you what?
That like I've not been not busy? Wait, what is. No, hold on.
That's a double negative.
It's a positive. Point is, it's slow now. And that's me putting it nicely.
Really?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, you know what? You deserve it because you were, I remember, like, what was it, last month? You were running around like crazy. So you should appreciate the little break that you just got.
I am absolutely not complaining. So now the way how it's going is there's like, I have a little bit of a break in between events. So really what I mean by slow, it means there's not an event every single day. I have like a 4-day break, that's slow for me. But I'm absolutely fine with it. And I think May 2 years ago was my slowest month in 14 years.
See, this is actually in my area, ends up being a busier time of the year. I know in Texas it's probably too hot, so people don't do things. But in New York,
yes,
everyone's waiting for the warmer months to do stuff. So most of the events tend to be in this time period.
Yeah, for sure. So what I want to talk about today is what to do when business is slow.
Ooh, I like that topic.
I generally come up with good ones.
Generally.
So this is the thing is I think that you should always be productive. You should always be working on your business. Just because business is slow doesn't mean that you need to like stop working on it and just wait for the phone to ring.
Totally agree.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm going to recommend is going through your website and doing a little audit. Ismail, you talked about booking yourself. This is the perfect time to do it. Go through the sales process and as you're a customer and go look through your contract whenever, like go look through the initial email. There was a customer that caught me on something a while back. So on my contract that I have people sign, so I have two things. So whenever someone requests information from me, they get like essentially a line item of everything that, you know, they're booking. And then they get like the policies. And then after they pay their deposit, they sign off on those policies. However, I have updated the agreement, which is the same thing that's on the policies. However, I didn't update the policies from the original agreement, if that makes any sense. So it's the same document, just I updated one and not the other. And they caught me on something. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'll get this fixed. You know, I'll honor it, whatever the case may be. But that's also a good time for you to experience stuff as your client and see how they see it, go through it, proofread it, you know, make sure that, you know, spelling's correct, make sure that, you know, stuff isn't outdated because that happens a lot. Yeah, I would absolutely do that.
Go book yourself. I just like saying that.
Go book yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
it sounds pretty.
And you don't have to bleep it out. It's totally fine. In the business, there's so much to do. There is so much to do that there, even when there's a slow period in terms of events, there's plenty of things you can work on. And the real cool thing about this business, this event business, is that, like, let's say you have a slow month this month, but you have events booked for the following months. So you know for a fact you're going to be busy next month and the month after. So the month that you have free now, you can utilize to do a lot of things, like booking yourself, optimizing that, working on your website, working on your marketing, thinking strategically about what things you can add to your business, any new lines of services, revisiting your pricing, analyzing your numbers, finding if the margins are good enough. Like, there is so much you can be working on that there's no excuse, oh, business is slow. Take advantage of that time.
Yeah. One thing I kind of do generally once a year, and I generally do it in January, is, you know, I meet with my friend Melissa and we have a conversation on what we're doing for the upcoming year. For me, I go from July to June. So that's my fiscal year. That I find it's a little bit more accurate of keeping track of our numbers just because our numbers are so seasonal. That's the only way it kind of, I guess it just makes sense to me. But one thing that I would do is, you know what, write out your business plan all over again. You wrote your business plan. Actually, whenever I first started, I really didn't write one, but I always kind of go over where am I headed? Where do I want to go next? Where do I want to take it from here? And I remember it was well over a year ago. I was like, I really want to start traveling and doing, events elsewhere. And, I just kind of put pen to paper and just being open to starting to book things. And then it just kind of happened from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's also tough to really recommend one specific thing to work on because it depends on your business and where you're at and what issues you have. Like, it just depends on your specific situation. But I would advise generally to take those times to step back, and focus on strategy and elevating yourself. Because if you want to elevate your business, you only can do that by elevating yourself. So to me, that means learning any kind of education, any kind of podcast or content you can absorb to help you step up your game. And the best time to do that is when things are slow. So for me, that's generally what I fall back to. You don't want to fall into the habit of doing minor things like tweaking your website pages, because it's important to update your site, but it's not going to move the needle for your business. If you always default into updating your social media and, updating a page on your site, that's fine. But you have to focus on the things that will actually take your business to the next level. And a lot of times the hard thing that you have to do is focus on strategy. Step back, think, research, learn, and try to take what you learn and implement it into your business.
Another thing you can do is, I believe June is the start of the year for ILEA. And I know a lot of local chapters do membership drives around this time. So this is the perfect opportunity to buy those shoes that you've been eyeing for a little bit and, go to one of those meetings. And if it's not ILEA, it could be NACE, it can be MPI, it can be, anything. Networking is a great thing to do whenever you're slow. I mean, it's the time where you can focus on, starting a new relationship with a new vendor, meeting some people, seeing what you can do for them, seeing if, if they're happy with the, people that they've been working with, if you offer something that those people don't, and not even big on the hard sell. Like I've always said, just sell the relationship first and then, the products will follow.
Yeah, now that we're thinking about this more, and I just heard what you said, I think the clearest thing that you should do during slow periods is talk to your clients. Not necessarily network for new clients, but network with your existing clients. And like you said, you don't have to sell them, but just touching in, keeping that relationship warm, I think is very beneficial. So that's probably the most critical thing I would suggest now that I think about it.
Another thing is, and you touched on this a second ago, is, go over your analytics, do your research. This is also a perfect time, you might want to update your pricing. So what I would recommend is, I haven't done this in a long time, and I'm actually going to consider doing this, is going and looking at other companies that are similar to you. I don't mean, if they happen to be photo booth, I don't mean, one's a mirror and you're an iPad. You can't compare those two. I'm saying try and compare apples to apples as close as possible and do a little spreadsheet on, how much people are charging, how many hours they're offering, what they're including. Do they include delivery? All that good stuff. And really find out, are you on par? Are you above? Are you below? Or are you just middle?
I mean, back to the thing we mentioned earlier about going to book yourself. That's also a good idea, is be a customer again and shop around. And go through the whole journey of a customer, not just what they go through after they already picked you. Evaluating what's out there, like you said, can be a helpful exercise. And I'm not doing that right now, but I am looking at my margins. I'm doing a whole analysis of the pricing that we have. And I kind of got motivated by that from you because you have very high margins. So I've been analyzing that. And I think the second part of that's going to be evaluating the market and seeing what I can charge to be competitive, but also try to have more profitability.
My good friend Richard Branson, he made a comment and he said, you cannot have a company that the customers love unless the employees love it first. So maybe this is a good time to do, you know, a team building activity or find something to do with your team to where they feel more part of the company. Or if this is a time where you want to make a change to something and you've been seeing that maybe people are getting a little bit lazy, and that does happen, or their standards may be dropping. This is the time to be like, come on, people, let's wake up, let's go back to what we were used to doing before. There's always a good time for a little wake up call, a little quality check, whatever you want to call it. This is also a time to maybe start something new. One thing that I do is I always have my attendants take photos of their events. This is the time where I'm like, what, let's do more creative stuff. Give me creative photos that I can do. If you want to create something that we post, turn it into a competition. Whoever wins gets a gift card, or whatever you find motivates that particular employee, because not everyone is motivated the same.
That's a great suggestion, the team building. I would just add that the team building doesn't just have to be fun stuff. You can engage the team in improving the business, having ideas, having challenges, like you said. Hey, we want to refresh our logo. Whoever comes up with the best logo, we'll all vote on it. You get a prize. You have to engage the team in improving the business, not just have you focus on improving the business.
And that also comes to going to, your workspace. There are times, I think maybe twice a year, I'll just get a wild hair and go to Z Gallery or go to West Elm or go to Crate and Barrel. Clearly you people know where I shop now, and just find stuff and just completely redo the space that I'm in. Because there are times where if I don't feel inspired or if I don't feel happy in my workspace, I'm just not. And I actually truthfully think that's where I am at right now. Is I'm looking around my office. I'm like, I hate everything that's in here. I need new stuff.
But you just redid it recently.
Not really. I just rearranged it recently.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I did. But there's pictures on the wall that, those are a little outdated. I've done some fun stuff since then. Whenever I was a planner, God, I was so stupid back then. I got published pretty often. And one thing that I would do is take the magazine covers that I got published in, and I take the covers and frame them and put them on the wall. That got old really quick because it wasn't motivating after a while. This is going to sound like such a shit thing, but I got published so often that it kind of got desensitized a little bit. Oprah told me this whenever she withdrew herself from the Emmys. I mean, she just won so many Emmys that it just didn't register anymore,
Yeah, I know.
No, but that's the thing is I found that getting published wasn't a trophy anymore. It wasn't an accomplishment anymore, even though, yes, it absolutely is an accomplishment. I wasn't motivated by that. I was more motivated about the impact that I made on the client. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that oftentimes those vanity things, people go for them, and you find that that's not really where you get your satisfaction from. Whether it's a publishing or hitting a certain revenue number or hitting a certain event number, once you hit it, you're still in the same place you were before. So the real key is the real satisfaction you have from the impact, like you said, on the client, on the people at the event, and feeling good about the work that you're doing.
Where it really changed for me was, and I actually mentioned this in the episode with Steve Ben and Bill Varenkamp, is, they were talking about, selling printers. We don't sell printers. We don't sell prints. We sell what's on those prints. We sell the emotion on it. And what really changed it for me was there was an event that I did. It was December 2007. I will never forget it. This bride I was working with, just very fun bride. I'm still in contact with her today. If I texted her, hey, let's go to the casino now, she'd be like, I'll be on a plane in 20 minutes. I mean, where are we going? I mean, that's how kind of close we are now. She and I had a conversation. We were really debating on whether or not she should do a videographer. This is back when I did planning. And I was like, you know what? You really should do it. You absolutely should do it. And we did her wedding. The videographer came, and did a great job. And her grandmother passed away before the video got delivered. And so I think the grandmother died like a month after the wedding. 3 months later, the video is completed, and we were watching it together. And there was a video clip that included her grandmother, and it just hits you right in the feels, because a photograph is a photograph, and that's a great thing. But the video, you got to hear her move, you got to hear her speak, you got to see her smile. It was just the most amazing thing. I was actually, if you haven't seen this, have you seen My Next Guest with David Letterman on Netflix?
I have seen just one of them, but I have that on my list for sure.
Which one did you see?
The first one. What was the first one with Obama?
So he did George Clooney. He's done Malala. He's done Barack Obama.
But I think Obama was the first episode. That was the only one that I saw.
George Clooney was the first episode.
Oh, so maybe I didn't see the first one, but I saw the Obama one.
Yeah. Well, he just did one. He just did one with Tina Fey. I think another one with Howard Stern. But anyways, I just literally before recording this, I saw the Tina Fey one, and what he was asking her is, how did it feel, winning this award? And, she was saying that right after she did Sarah Palin on Saturday Night Live, she got this award at the Kennedy Center. And I think it was a Mark Twain Award or something like that. And she was like, "Are you sure this seems like really inappropriate?" And Lorne Michaels, the creator of SNL, had a conversation with her. And, he said, "You really should do this whenever your parents are still living." And
do what?
You receive the award.
Oh, okay.
And she was like, "You're right." And so that was one of the last things that her dad got to see her do. And, that's the thing, is you kind of really need to figure out what makes you tick and what makes you productive. And this downtime is really meant to kind of recenter yourself, hit the reset button on the business. This is the perfect time to start fresh with something. If you want to create a habit is created in 21 days. If you do something every day for 21 days, it officially becomes a habit. So this is the perfect time to kind of, break the old mistakes that have been happening and just to kind of start fresh.
Yeah, I definitely totally agree with. I think one thing you touched on is the power of stories. And this has been on my mind recently, and I just read something a few days ago about the beer Corona and how they are consistently ranked at the bottom for taste, right? They're not ranking high for taste, but they're one of the best.
Disgusting.
But they're one of the best selling beers. And the reason why that is the marketing that they have, the story of people at the beach hanging out, having a good time on vacation with their friends, socializing. That message, that story is what carries the business in spite of a bad product. And I feel like us in the business that we're in, we really have a lot of emotional levers we can pull. We're part of weddings. We're part of these big occasions in people's lives. And I feel like it's a squandered opportunity that we're not really utilizing that story to our advantage. And we talk to a lot of people. We see a lot of boothers and their websites and their businesses. And I feel like a lot of us don't really capitalize on that power that we have. So that's been something that's been on my mind, how to reflect those stories in the brand and make people really connect with you more than just a machine that prints pictures.
Another thing is, and this kind of goes off on that, is to really research other technology that's out there. So, for example, if you are using one iPad app and you haven't tried anything else, maybe now is the time to start screwing around with it and see if that is something that will work for you. I will say this, and we had talked about this in a previous episode where I did Miss Texas and we did the virtual crown on everyone's head, and the emotion that created. All that came from was just the know-how of utilizing a product that I already use. I didn't have to pay extra for it. Well, I did have to pay extra for it, but for the most part, and that cost was just negligible. But
excellent point. This was actually going to be my next point too. not only researching other things out there, but exactly what you just said, looking at what you already use, whatever software it is. There's a lot of software tools out there, but whatever you use, what else can I sell? What else can I do? I find the slow time to be a perfect time to dig into the tools and say, oh, wow, I never really used microsites. I never really sold these analytics that I can collect. Learning those things and teaching that to the team, so that's another thing in your tool belt that you can offer. And that also has an effect of increasing your margins, right? So if you now have a new thing to upsell to somebody, that increases your profit margin. So it's a win.
Another thing is, if you know that you're going to be busy in the next upcoming months and you know that you're going to need help, now is the perfect time to start putting those ads out there to find new employees, because that's going to take some time to find people, to vet through resumes, to bring people in. I love doing group interviews. I think I've said that before, but that was a long time ago. But I still love doing group interviews. It's the best thing ever.
My final suggestion is do nothing. And
what?
Yes, exactly. I think don't lose sight about why we're all entrepreneurs, right? So we're chasing our dream for a better life. So if you're having a slow period and you know it's temporary and there's a few months coming up where you're going to be booked like crazy, take advantage of that time, enjoy yourself, take your kids to the park, go on a vacation, go to Disney World, watch that show you've been wanting to watch. I think it's important to have balance. And whenever there's a slow period, have some joy in your life and not go crazy working yourself to the bone, because that's not the whole reason we're doing this, right? We're doing this to have a better life.
I just did the math on my Disney trip.
I'm sure it doesn't look pretty.
You know what? It was really the most expensive day ever.
Was it worth it?
Absolutely. It was worth, the time just to be away and just to think about nothing and really just to go out and straight up have fun. I don't think I've taken like a proper vacation, not attached to work, in a very long time. I mean, a very long time.
And it may sound funny to say not to do anything, but sometimes that's the best way to refresh yourself. Going on those trips, detaching, it's a real reset. When you come back, you'll look at things a little differently, and that may really help you take your business to the next level.
You know what? We're here for a good time, not a long time. Thank you so much for listening. If you liked what you heard, please leave us a review on iTunes. We would really appreciate it. It helps us keep our ranking. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week.